Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As I promised, in this video we're gonna make a jumpsuit, and you might know if you have seen more of my tutorials that I'm not really of the pants, of the trousers, but more of the skirts and the dresses. But I cannot be a sewing channel with not ever making a jumpsuit because they are so in style now. So I searched for some examples what we can make. And I found this dark blue one that I really like on the left, that is more loose with elastic in the waist and more baggy. I like the style with the left one with the lace, but I don't have lace, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. Also, I think lace is more for dresses, more for girly things, and I think a jumpsuit is more a casual other style than for lace. So I won't do the lace one. I was doubting if I would do the sleeves as the dark one or more the sleeveless as the white one. Also the white one, the woman in the white one is Davina Michelle. It's a Dutch singer. She's very good. And I couldn't find her jumpsuit, but so I just screenshot her performance. So I think I will do the web style of her jumpsuit, the white one, with that low V cut. And as you see in the picture below, that has a lace trim along the seam. And I think I like that more than what the dark blue one has with the whole top in an overlay of lace. So I'm gonna try to find some lace to do that along the midline. And then I was doubting how wide or how tight I wanted the pants to be. Because my fabric is rather thin, and I think if I make the pants as tight as the white one, that won't look nice, especially on the bottom, those with the slits, that won't work with my fabric. So I'm going a bit in between the blue one and the white one. Well, the blue one are two different jumpsuits, but the style is almost the same, although no, that's not almost the same. I think the first one is wider, then it's a really tight one with cuffs on the ankles. They're not going to do that, but they're going to go between the left blue one and the white one in width. And so I'll make the pants tight on the top, on the waist with darts. But if you don't want to do that, if you want it more wide, then I'll give you also the instructions how you can make it more wide as the blue one. So then you have two options what you want to make. I make the one like the white one on top, on the waist, on the top part of the bottoms. But I also tell you how you can make more the baggy one as the dark blue one. So then you have your own choice to make. So I think we'll do that. The back, I think I'll do as the blue one on the bottom is with that cutout on the back. The white one is almost the same, but that is the cutout really low as the waist is, and I don't like that. It's too much for me, so I don't like that. So the back will be just as the blue one on the bottom. And then I think because I have that web in the front, I'll also make that drawstring to wrap around the waist. I made my drawing, and as I said, we make the web detail in the front, but it is attached, so it's not loose. So it's just sewn on to the bottoms, to the trousers. What we do, we make darts in the top, and we make two darts on the bottoms, in the front, and in the bottoms only in the back. We make the pants rather tight here, but not really that tight that it's like a skinny pants. So it's not wide, but it's also not tight, just in between. That is nice because I have a rather flowy fabric, and that must have some movement. Then I make a band around the waist to tie around, because I like it when there is a bow here in between. And first I thought I'll make the zipper in the side seam, but then I thought I can also make the zipper in the mid back, and then going into that opening here, and then close this up with a button. And then this opens up totally when you have to put it on or put it out. And I think that is very convenient, because when you have to go to the toilet, you have to put this all out, and it must be easy to do that because it is already a pain that you have to take everything out that you are wearing. So instead of making a zipper in the side seam, I will make the zipper in the mid back and just have this, the end of the zipper is the beginning of the keyhole on the top of it. And then I'm going to try to find some lace that I can put here underneath the seam in the cleavage. I think that looks nice when I find it. And then, because I said you can also do it like the blue one, I made another drawing if you want the more wider one and the one with the elastic in the waist. This is also all the same. You can decide yourself if you want also your legs of the pants wider on the bottoms or not, or if you do the same as the red one. But certainly here in the waist it will be wider because you have to put it on. You don't have a zipper, so you have to put it on, so the width here must be enough to put it over your bottoms. So you make this rather wide, more wide than the red one will be. So I'll tell you when you have to, how you have to cut it, when you have to make differences from the red one. And then you put elastic in the waist, and you have the more loose fitted jumpsuit. So you can choose whatever you like, the red one or the blue one. I decided to do this in blue so I can say the blue one is the color of the picture, but also now the color of my drawing, and you don't have mistakes which one I am talking about. So we're gonna make the pattern and then we can start sewing. So for the pattern we're gonna use the basic pattern that I made a tutorial of before. So if you don't have a basic pattern for your trousers, go back to that tutorial, I will link it down below, and make your basic pattern. If you want to make the red jumpsuit, then you will need the red lines on that pattern. If you want to make the blue one, now it gets a bit confusing because then you need the green one of the pattern. Because you need for this the most wide trousers, and that is in the tutorial of the trousers, the paperback trousers, because that has that really wide fit. So for this one, the most wide trousers. For this one, same, the red color, and that is just the basic pattern with the pleats. So I'm gonna trace that down as a new pattern, because I have all the colors on my pattern and it's very confusing. So I make a new pattern to use now. I'm gonna do that now. So I made my two patterns, the front and the back, and what I also do, of course, we make pockets. So I marked on my front pattern where I want my pockets to be, and we're gonna make inseam pockets. And I have also a tutorial about that, so I'm gonna make this, but I'm not gonna totally explain it. If you have never done it and you don't understand what I'm doing later on, then watch my tutorial about inseam pockets. There I show you exactly how you must do that. And also, before you cut your fabric, make sure that your crotch, especially from the back, is long enough, because for a jumpsuit it is very annoying when this is not enough, because then it gets pulling, and that's really annoying, because your jumpsuit can go down. If you have just pants, you can put your pants a little bit down, but because you are attached to the top, you cannot go down. So make sure that this length is enough, otherwise give it some more to the top, give it some extra fabric. So check that before you cut your fabric, just by holding on the pattern to your butt, and then you can see if this is high enough, and otherwise just in case cut some extra fabric on the top of it. Then for the top, of course, we're gonna use the basic pattern for the top. Also, if you don't have that one, I will link my tutorial down below in the description box. And you see every tutorial you will need a basic pattern, so keep hold on it, don't throw them away, but keep them, store them, then you can use them every time again just by tracing it again. So I traced my top pattern, my basic pattern. I traced it all around, and what I did, I marked the midline, because this we're not going to use. So I marked where my shoulder ends, and then I want the overlap here, I marked it 7 centimeters, and then we're going to connect the shoulder seam with that 7 centimeter overlap marking. So then you have nicely the fold over in the front. I marked my apex, of course, and we want a dart here, so I made a dart of 3 centimeters. That is the same as of the trousers, so they connect nicely. And because I take in here 3 centimeters, I add 3 centimeters here to the side seam. So I'm gonna make the side seam 3 centimeters wider. So this one will go away because we need that space. And then the back will be just the normal basic pattern. So this one with the higher top. We get a seam here, so this will, I'll put it away, otherwise it's not clear. This will be the zipper part, so this will be a seam, so don't put it on the fold, just put it on as a seam, cut a seam on. And here also you need just a seam to get that keyhole part. You don't have to do anything for that, but you want this opening, so make sure you have enough seam allowance to finish that nicely. And then it's just this same basic pattern, except, oh no, I didn't want to make darts in the back, so it's just this basic pattern for the back part of the top. And what we will need to finish it, I think I'm gonna make some facing just around the armhole, and of course the back too. So then you just cut a piece of fabric just in the same shape of the armhole. And also here for the front part, I think I'll just make a facing about 2 centimeters wide to finish this up. And if we want to put lace here, we can put the lace in between. So also cut some strips of fabric in these shapes to finish it off later on. And for the back, you can choose if you just do the neck hole, or that you do a hole facing the neck hole and the opening that we make here also as a facing, or just folding in the seam allowances. And if you want to make the blue jumpsuit, make sure that the top of your pants is the width of your hips. I don't remember if I made the paperbag pants without a zipper, so I'm not sure if the top measurement is a hip measurement, but now you must make sure that this is your hip measurement, otherwise you cannot get the jumpsuit on. And because you're gonna attach the top to that top part of your trouser part, also make sure that the circumference of your top is your hip size. And I totally forgot to show you my fabric, and I have already cut it, so it is me in the future, but I wanted to show you anyways. I have this really beautiful, nice viscose, and it is a very nice night blue. It's now on the video even lighter than it is because I have all the lights here on it. It's very dark night blue, and it is a very soft material. It is nice and stretchy to one side, so that is nice. I don't like it when it's 4 sides for clothing, because then it goes hanging out a lot. So this is the fabric I'm going to use for my jumpsuit, and it is very nice and flowy, and that is why I didn't want the trousers to be too tight, because I don't think that is nice with this fabric, but I don't want them too wide, so that's why I don't make the blue jumpsuit, although this one is blue, but the wider one from the picture. So this will be my fabric. So we cut out all of our pieces. I also cut 4 times a pocket, and that I do just by laying my hand on and tracing it around and cutting it out, 2 for each pocket. And I cut out the straps for tying the waist. I took 1 meter by 10 centimeters, but just take as long as you like them to be. So now we're going to start with sewing all the darts, and that is a lot. So we're going to do the darts in the bottoms and the darts on the top part. So mark them and sew them. If you're not familiar on how to sew darts, I made a whole tutorial about just sewing darts. So if you're not comfortable, watch that video first. I will link it down below in the description box. And then we're gonna sew all the darts, and I'll go back for the next step. we have sewn all our darts, and what I always do then is just roughly pin especially the pants together to see how it fits. Just putting a few pins on the side seam, on the under leg and on the crotch seam, and I see how it fits. And because my fabric is very stretchy, I made some extra darts in the back pattern, because otherwise it would be way too wide and it wouldn't look very nice. But that means that it doesn't fit my top back anymore. So I'm gonna give this also one small dart, just to have the same width of the trousers and the top together. And then we're gonna sew. If you don't have such a fabric as I am, I think you don't have to do it, but maybe it's good to just try it on like that and see if you need to do that too. You shouldn't, because the pattern is to your size, but because my fabric is very much stretchy, I need to, but I think you won't have to, and then you don't have this problem. Then you can just sew your back top pattern to your back trousers pattern. So that what you do is just put them right sides together and sew that waistline seam for both. And we do that, it's a different follow-up than normally when you start making something. We do that because we're going to make a blind zipper here in the mid back. And I always do the zipper first and then make the seam. And that is different from another zipper placement. So that is why we're starting now with the big mid back and with the waistline, because we need these two together to make the zipper. So watch if you need to put some extra darts in, otherwise just put your top back to your trousers back. When you've done that, then serge or zigzag the mid back seam so that we can put in the blind zipper. So then for the zipper, mark where you want your zipper to start from the top. So I marked mine 25 centimeters down, so that means that this will be the open part, that keyhole part on top of the top. And I measured it 20 centimeters down from the waist. Then it's not really, you're not going to sit on it when you sit down, so that's a comfortable height for the zipper. We put in an invisible zipper because that is nicest. If you're not familiar how to make an invisible zipper, I will link down below in the description box my tutorial about how you do that. And make sure you watch that if you have never done an invisible zipper, because it's different from a normal zipper. But I must say I think it's easier than a normal zipper. So watch the tutorial, otherwise just put in your zipper and then I'll come back for the next step. So when you've sewn the zipper in, make sure your waistlines are nicely matching. And then we have to make the mid-back seam further down the crotch seam. And you can do that now, you can also do that later when we're making the pants together. But I always like to finish the hem that I'm working with. So pin that down and make sure you make a nice end of your zipper, that you also can see in my special tutorial, that you're really sure that the two attached lines are connecting, otherwise you get here a strange thing on the end of the zipper. So make sure you do that very nicely. facing. You can choose if you want to give it some interfacing to give it more grip, more strength. I think I will do, because my fabric is very thin and also because it's so stretchy. I'll give it an interfacing to give it some more strength in the opening side. Then you're gonna sew that on, fold it back to the inside, of course, because it's a facing. And as you see, I am far further down than where you are now in the video, because I just found out that I forgot to put my lace in between my facing and my top, and I found some really nice lace in the right color. And what I should have done was put that in between my facing and my top part, my bodice, and then sew it on. So what you do is you put, I'll show it on this side, that is easier to do. You put your facing onto the bodice, and you take this lace in between and see what side of the lace is nicest. Mine has scalloped on both sides, so I can take either side, and then make sure you put them in between so that it will stick out like this. So just layer them on top of each other and then see when you have it the right side. I cannot show you now because my facing is already sewn on, so I am late for that, but it has to be in between the two layers. Iron it down very well and then cross them over each other as we made the pattern. I think we made 10 centimeters overlap, but you can do whatever you like if you have the same width of your pants later on. And to do that, it's easiest to, because we want to attach them together, to make your front crotch seam too, because then the front of the trousers are connected, and then you can connect the top part to the trousers. So it's a strange follow-up this time, because we have some different things than normally. So I hope you don't get confused. Just follow me and we will find the end. We're going to follow with the inner side seams of the pants, and as I said before, it is really a strange order that we're doing this, and normally you don't do it like this, you don't make these follow-ups after each other, but because we have the pockets in the side seams that I want to do last, because then you can try on if the sizing is right. If you have the pockets on already, you cannot change the sizing anymore, so that's why I want the pockets doing almost last when we are gonna make the side seam. And also because we have the zipper, the blind zipper in the back, also the trousers part is different, so don't worry, we'll do everything, but the order is in a different way than you would normally do. So now we're gonna do the side seams, the inner seams of the pants, and then you can finish up the crotch seam that we left open for a bit. You can make it closed from the front to the back as much as you have left open. So that's what we're going to do next. We're gonna sew the shoulder seams, and when you've done that, you can also sew on the armhole facings, and if you made one, the neck part, well, you made the neck part, but also the keyhole part if you made it. Otherwise, just the facing of the neck hole. And just do that by sewing on the facing, and then iron it well to the right side, to the wrong side of course, so sewing it on right sides together. This is the wrong side of course, so I'll show you on the back. Just sewing it on like this. Then you fold it to the wrong side. Make sure you have the edges finished with the serger or zigzag, and then iron it down very, very sharp, very nice. And when you're lucky, then you're done. I wouldn't recommend top stitching it because I don't think that looks nice. So if it doesn't hold, if it doesn't stay flat, your facing, then just do the finished side with just some small stitches by hand, sew it onto the bodice, because I think that looks nicer. So see what it will do if you iron it very well. If you really press it, usually that's enough to get a really nice finish of your facing. Sew together the armhole seams. This is the front, this is the back. It's not meant to be bigger and smaller, but it just turned out because I used some scraps to cut this out. But this must be of course matching, so make sure it is, when you finish the side seams, make sure that the width of both is almost the same. That looks the nicest, but no one will see though, so it doesn't really matter. So we're going to sew the shoulder seam of the facings, and then we're going to sew them all around the armholes. Now it is time to pin down the side seams of your jumpsuit and try it on, and that is why our order was different than you would normally do, because now you can adjust the fit, and because I wanted it to be rather tight fitted, now you can make your adjustments, because you cannot adjust anymore when you have put your pockets on. So that's why we didn't have the pockets yet, and that's why the order is different. So I pinned the whole side seam down, and I tried it on, and I have to take it in quite a bit because I want my water fitted, and that means because my fabric is very stretchy, that I really have to take in quite a lot. It's several centimeters on each side, but that's not a problem because I have the opportunity now to do that. So I'm going to cut my excess material off, and then I'm going to sew on my pockets. And I have a tutorial especially about making inseam pockets. So if you're not familiar on how to do that, I will link that tutorial down below in the description box. But what you do is you sew your pockets one piece to the front part and one to the back part. Sew that down, leaving in a centimeter from the top and from the bottom of the pants. Sew them on right sides together. Then what you do is you fold them open and you press it very nicely open, and then you put both sides, the front and the back, right sides together, and you sew the side seam till where you attached, where the seam is where you attach the pocket, then all along the pocket, and then the rest of the side seam, and then you have a very nice inseam pocket. But as I said, you can watch my tutorial if you're not familiar with it and if you don't want to get in trouble. So that's what you have to do. And also you're gonna make the strips for the waist that we're gonna tie, and you just do that by folding them together, sewing on, just turning it right side out, and then sew it on. I will sew it one side in the side seam and the other side in the overlap of the front part, and then the part that is on top there I will attach one strap and the other strap on the side seam on that same side, because then they go different ways to go around your waist. So make them two so that you can sew down the whole side seam, because one goes in the side seam. And then I'll come back for the last pieces to do. And this is the jumpsuit, and I must say I'm not a fan of trousers, but this feels very comfortably because my fabric is very soft and very stretchy, and I just put it on without opening up the zipper because I don't need that zipper at all, so I didn't have to make it, but I thought I didn't know that up front, so I'm happy with the zipper in the back. I really like how it looks. I'm not a fan of the deep V, as you know, but yeah, I think it looks good, but I just don't feel that comfortable with such a wide cleavage. So I just put it down here with some tape, and that's okay. I can put it down some higher if I want to. But I think it looks very nice. Also happy, of course, with the pockets. We need them, and in this pants it certainly should have. And so also not a problem to make them. I think it looks very nice in the back with all the lines that really accentuate your body. The front I think it's very nice. It's very classy. It's nice and sleek. I made the tighter one, but not that tight. I wanted here to be fitted and the legs just a little bit going. I made it a little bit short because I'm short. I like that you see just a little bit of ankle, but you can make it any length you want. I did a strange order in making it. If you're familiar in sewing, then you have thought maybe sometimes, what's she doing now? Why is she doing this? Why is she doing it? Because I wanted to make the side seams last, because I found out in the beginning that my fabric was so stretchy that I had a problem that it would be too wide if I just sewed it as I had cut it. I cut it to my own sizing, but when fabric is so stretchy as this, then you get a problem that when you sew it that way, it will hang too loose and then it doesn't look nice. That's why we did the side seams as last. Normally it's almost the first thing that you make, the pockets and then the side seams, but that's why the order is strange, because I wanted to be able to fit it almost done and then see how tight I could make it in the side seams and with the pockets. And I think that turned out very well, because it's now really nice fitted all the way around. The top feels nice, and well, I must say I'm very happy with the result. And my husband said, I know you don't like trousers, but this looks really good on you, so maybe I should wear it some more and you'll not be just that stubborn. I don't like trousers, I don't wear them, because I think this looks very nice. And also with the lace here, I forgot to put it in between, and I must say I ripped one open to put the lace in between, and the other one I just stitched under. I don't think it has a difference. I just like the more when it's in between, but just in wearing and in the side it doesn't matter. It looks the same. It's also pretty on both sides, so you can do whatever you like. You have the opportunity now to sew it in between, but if you think that's too difficult, just sew it under. This side is sewn under and it's also okay. So this was the jumpsuit. I'm very happy with the result. I like how it turned out. Maybe it was a bit of a struggle for you because you didn't understand what I was doing, but when you just follow me, you will always get to the end. Also, if you've never have sewn something like this, you will get there. I know what I'm doing, and I know when I do it different, then it can come out good too, and there's a reason why I do it differently, as I said, for the side seams that I wanted. So I hope yours turned out too also very nice, that you're happy with the result. What I want to say? No, don't know. Next project will be a double circle skirt. So not a normal circle skirt, a doubled one. And I have fabric for quite some time laying down now. And I knew I wanted to make that out of it, but it just didn't come around because I have so many things to sew. So the next tutorial will be a double circle skirt. I don't have the fabric here. I always forget to take it upstairs. But then you know what it will be. So I hope you like this tutorial. I hope you like the jumpsuits. Also, you can make a romper out of it, of course, if that is your thing. Just make it shorter. And you can also make a dress out of it when you don't add pants, but just a skirt underneath it as the bottom. Then you also have a very nice garment. So I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like my videos. Please share. It would be really nice when we could reach 1,000 subscribers at my first anniversary. That is the end of July, I think, or maybe it was August, I don't know. We're now at 730 or 40 or something, so it would be really nice if we could reach the 1,000, but I don't think we can, because then it really has to go quick, and it's summer now almost. So but please subscribe, please share my videos if you like them, if you learn from them, because I would love to have more people go back to sewing or to start sewing. And to show them that it's really not that difficult when you just start doing it. And I have a lot of comments of people who say, oh, I'm just a beginner, but now I'm confident to sew a skirt or a trousers or a short with a zipper, because I saw your tutorial and now I see there's no problem in sewing in the zippers. And it's so nice to hear that I can help with you and that you see that really it is all not that difficult. So please share, please subscribe. And I'll see you next week, next Monday, for the new tutorial of the double circle skirt. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. And now to show you a little clip of the back with the slit and the button on top. Looks really nice. And the zipper below, but I don't need that. I just can get in and out without opening the zipper, so that's very comfortable. So just wanted to show you that too. Bye.